It's very rare that we get a new roleplay game that also has couch co-op support, and especially one where it has specifically designed gameplay elements to make co-op a unique experience, and with Souls-like combat thrown into the mix. You'll also be happy to hear the release date of this new game is not far away. My name is ESO Danny, and today we're checking out The Last Oricru. And if you want to stay up to date with the latest RPG game news, make sure you subscribe with the bell icon. Now last week I told you guys about the channel sponsor, the sugar-free energy drink G Fuel. They just collaborated with Tetris to make G Fuel Tetris Blast. And it's so popular it literally sold out within a few days. So if you guys still want to grab some, make sure you use the link down below in the description. There's now a waiting list to get that flavor. I highly recommend getting on the waiting list if you actually want to try it, because I don't know how long it'll be until they stock it again after that. Just make sure you use code ESO for a discount. The Last Oricru is a story-driven action roleplay game where each decision will have an actual consequence on the story and its multiple endings. More examples of the actual decision making later in the video. But if you guys enjoy games like Gothic, Elex, and Risen, I think you'll be interested in The Last Oricru. If you are and you want to support this small team of developers, leave any comments with feedback below. The devs are going to be checking out this video, and any likes you can give it really helps YouTube push the game out to more people, because it really does look promising so far. Let's take a look. The Last Oricru takes place in a world mixed with medieval and sci-fi concepts. Now you're not going to be running around with guns and laser weapons. The combat is very much traditional plate armor, sword and shield with a magic system as well, while the environment around you draws from medieval architecture and concepts, but in a fantasy sci-fi setting where strange races we've never seen before exist. The Last Oricru starts out with you crash landing into the isolated planet of Verdania, which is caught up in civil war between two of the more prominent races, the Naboru and the Ratkin. You'll have the opportunity to interact with and build relationships with each one of these main conflicting factions, and all the decisions you're making during the story will heavily influence how much each faction actually likes you. It's even possible to make them all hate you. This system really does remind me of what I loved from Fallout New Vegas and all the different factions which led to multiple possible endings. I'll go into more detail about the decision system and how it works later though. We even see a Dark Souls looking entrance into this boss fight, and I must say, even though this is pre-alpha footage, some of these animations do look like they need some work, specifically on the boss enemy. I've personally very much enjoyed games like Elex and Gothic, but I know if the dev team want to attract Souls-like game fans, fluid combat is going to play a key role. But we even get to see the classic fire enchantment applied to our weapon, which brings me on to the weapon upgrade system. We can upgrade all of our weapons and armor throughout the game, and the devs have confirmed that you'll be able to use the same weapon from start to finish if you just carry on upgrading it. We can also see a few different weapon types like the two-handed axe, sword and shield, archer, and so on. Each weapon has a base damage that I'm sure scales off strength and dexterity. Some weapons also have a strength and dexterity minimum requirement for you to actually wield it and use it, which will probably largely dictate how you build your character. As for your actual character build, the devs have said that they want to keep it simple. So we have the standard RPG game attributes, your life, obviously for your health stat, will or willpower for your available mana and maybe mana regeneration. Then we have vigor for stamina and stamina regeneration, strength for damage and also weapon requirements, and dexterity for speed and weapon requirements. Now I'm not so sure if dexterity will also affect actual attack speed as well. Then finally we have intellect, and I'm sure this probably affects mana or magic damage in some way, potentially even the maximum amount of mana you have, kind of like how they did it in Oblivion. We also see our setup in the armor tab, showing our weight and our total armor rating. and also are equipped weapons including shield, armor, boots and legs, helmets, and even enchanted rings. And you see from the gameplay there seems to be a lot of different armor sets and customization that us RPG players always love and appreciate. On the bottom bar here it looks like it could be our active spells, but I'm not actually so sure what goes here from the gameplay. We've also seen wards in the gameplay capable of blocking magical projectiles, but not physical if you're playing an archer. As for the combat, it does remind me very much of Elex and Gothic in terms of the movement and the animation. It looks rather punishing when you actually make a mistake though, clearly very Souls-like in terms of inspiration here, with the "you died" screen and so on, which in my opinion is a very good thing. I love a challenging Souls-like game. Now while the game can be played in single player, it also has couch co-op as an actual split screen mode. It's been a very long time since I've played a split screen game, but I do love them. It's almost like many video game companies have just forgotten that as a kid you go around your friend's house, sit in the same room and play split screen games, or even with your older or younger sibling. That's how many people got into video games. But the developers have actually put in hidden mechanics and features that are only usable in co-op, which is really good to see. However, the game doesn't get easier if you play in multiplayer. It actually scales up in difficulty to account for the fact that there are 2 people playing. So expect more enemies, larger health bars, and so on. The game doesn't necessarily get easier, it just adds more ways to solve problems when playing in co-op. Some of which are like secrets that you can unlock that are not achievable in solo gameplay. The developers also talk about you building a tank-based character and your friend playing a ranger or a mage to buff you and bring the hurt, which I love the idea of. Co-op gameplay will be available online or split screen, and friends can hop in and out of the gameplay on the fly. So it's really easy to jump in and join a friend on their adventure, and vice versa. As for the story decisions, it seems like the host player will be in the driving seat, but that wasn't clear from what we've seen so far. Finally, we get a look at one of the most important aspects of the Last Oricru that we need to discuss, which is player choice and meaningful decision making. These days, many games give you the illusion of choice, but it really has no effect on the gameplay or the ending. It's like choice A or B or C, and they all lead to the same point anyway, so it literally doesn't matter. And most developers do that since it will be extra work for them to create something that half of the players would never see. But in this case, the developers have literally said, The Last Oricru is going to require multiple playthroughs for you to actually experience the full game, which I think is fantastic. The game has clear-cut decisions to make, and my good friend Sir Toby on Twitter, who you may remember from Kingdom Come Deliverance, is here to explain and elaborate on how the decision-making system actually works, with this example.
Every choice matters, and you can come to multiple possible endings. In this situation, the Queen is about to visit the monastery in which we woke up earlier. Our task was to hide one of the illegal magic items from her.
There you go.
You don't know why, you don't know who those people in the monastery are, neither who that queen is. So you're offered to make a decision. There is no right or wrong, just your way.
They do have this.
Well, there was a wrong answer for poor Tobias here, but according to your decisions, the story will unfold in a certain way. Okay. Poor Jeffrey here suffers from your decision as well, but this is not a game over, this is your way, and you will have to go with it. But what if we would choose differently? Let's lie about the lightning rods. We end up in the same cellar, let's call it the safer end. Oh, and see, good Toby is still alive, well, more or less. And our story continues from here. We just showed you 2 options, but believe me, there are way more. Tobias, for instance, needs healing. Will you give it to him, or will you rather trade it for better equipment? Will you help Toby escape and watch his story unfold? Or do you kill him right in the beginning and loot his corpse? Sorry Tobes, but money rules the world. The decisions you can make in The Last Oricru are influencing your entire playthrough. If you decide to rather give the medkit to the Redkins, they will not attack you, but stand on your side. On the contrary, anger them and you will have more enemies, but also more loot, more XP, but also, well, you know, eventually more deaths. But your decisions don't have to be definite. Remember when I said living and breathing world? I meant it. Life is change, right? and decisions are there to be changed later. In this particular situation, the Radkins are on our side. Our task is to open the gate and invade the castle together. On our way, we meet the Marshal. He has something to offer to us which might be more valuable. So we can backstab our new friends.
Now these decisions do appear very clean cut. It's like betray X or Y, but the outcome is not clearly labeled as being good or bad. And I like that moral mystery. It's kind of like you play a role in really deciding the fate of this civil war, and that's what the game's about. And that to me seems very exciting. Now, if you guys are interested in seeing me actually get hands-on with this game, let me know in the comment section, and I'll see if I can get a hands-on exclusive preview for you guys. Obviously, I'll be playing through the game as an absolute ruthless savage. Grab yourself some G Fuel linked below in preparation, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.